The A220 has become a reasonably popular aircraft, mainly since Airbus took over the program from Bombardier. Rescuing the program amid a Boeing-fueled trade dispute with Bombardier, Airbus's vast industrial resources have brought increased credibility, support and reliability to the clean-sheet narrow-body project. Originally named the C-Series, this small aircraft had garnered a modest amount of interest from international carriers, even early in its development. But did you know that one of those carriers was Qatar Airways? That's something we'll explore in today's video. Yes, that's right. Qatar Airways on numerous occasions was interested in the A220, which at the time was the Bombardier C-Series. The Middle Eastern carrier seemed to show interest throughout the early, mid and even late 2010s. This culminated in the desire to establish an Indian short-haul airline reliant on the narrow-body aircraft type. So what happened to these expressions of interest? And could a significant order from the airline have changed the course of history for this aircraft program? While we don't know when initial interest was expressed, a 2009 article by Flight Global reported that Qatar Airways had lost interest in the C-Series. This was due to disagreements over the price and specifications of the aircraft. Proclaiming that he was moving on, Al-Bakr stated, "It is in the freezer because we require certain conditions from Bombardier for us to consider the aircraft, for which they are not capitulating. So I think we'll have to forget about it if they do not respond. If they oblige, maybe we'll reconsider our decision." In a 2017 report by the Globe and Mail, it was noted that the airline had, again, firmly shelved any C-Series related plans at the 2011 Paris Air Show. But, interestingly, it would appear that Qatar Airways returned sometime after. Indeed, a 2015 report by Reuters and the Financial Post stated that the airline was, again, no longer interested in buying the Bombardier C-Series. Speaking at an interview on the sidelines of the ITB travel fair in Berlin, the airline chief commented on the lagging timeline of the program, saying, "We have completely forgotten about it because you cannot wait indefinitely." As a CEO known for taking a blunt approach and offering headline-making statements, the on-again, off-again approach isn't too surprising. Al-Bakr had his own deadlines and requirements, and Bombardier couldn't meet them. And at the same time, as the years went by, there was yet to be any better offering for the CEO to shift his attention to. But there would be just one more sign of interest from Qatar Airways and its CEO before it all disappeared. In June 2017, several media sources reported that the Bombardier C-Series had drawn the attention of Qatar Airways and Latvia's Air Baltic. While we know that Air Baltic would go on to be one of the largest customers for the CS300 or A220-300, the interest from Qatar Airways has become a little more lost to history. As per the Globe and Mail, Qatar Airways at the time had gained permission to establish an Indian operation. Likely a fully separate carrier, this was to be a domestic short-haul airline fully based in India. With a fleet of 100 narrow-body aircraft, the venture would be fully funded by Qatar Airways. Interviewed at the 2017 Paris Air Show, Fred Cromer, president of Bombardier's commercial aircraft division, stated that the C-Series was being considered as the foundation of this new airline fleet. Cromer was quoted as saying, "We've had several conversations with Akbar and he is watching the program. His interest level increased when he was able to see the aircraft for the first time in Paris a couple of years ago." The news of interest from both Qatar Airways and Air Baltic would result in Bombardier's share price climbing by nearly 4%. Still, nothing further would materialize from the Qatari side, as the airline obviously never established its Indian offshoot. Notably, around this same period, Bombardier would find itself in the middle of a trade dispute. As we've already covered significantly through various YouTube videos on our channel, Boeing had aimed to sink a significant C-Series order from Delta Airlines. Though the only Boeing product that even came close was the decades-old 717, It argued the new Canadian aircraft harmed American industry and was being sold below cost, a practice referred to as dumping. We mention all of this to say that the legal turmoil endured by Bombardier was unlikely to be the reason that Qatar Airways didn't follow through with an order for its Indian airline. Indeed, while reports as late as September 2018 indicated that Qatar Airways was still waiting to set up an airline with the involvement of a partner, subsequent news on the topic has been hard to find. We're not sure why Mr. Al-Bakr never started his Indian carrier. Perhaps he realized that the Indian aviation sector would be too big of a challenge due to the well-established budget airlines already operating in the country. Maybe we can ask him one day. Anyway, while nothing ever materialized, it is an interesting thought exercise to imagine how any kind of major C-Series deal with Qatar Airways could have played out. Perhaps a major deal would have allowed Bombardier to hold on to the program instead of selling it to Airbus. It's possible. Of course, at the same time, Bombardier may have been hard-pressed to ramp up production on its own enough to satisfy the needs of Qatar Airways, Air Baltic and several other carriers. Even Airbus, with all of its resources, has taken its time to ramp up production. Such activities don't happen quickly. In retrospect, having Qatar Airways and/or a Qatar Airways subsidiary in India as a customer may have proven disastrous. While many have associated the A220 with being the perfect pandemic plane, it's difficult to know if a new Indian carrier would have survived the global health crisis. Even if it would have, subsequent reports have associated increased Pratt & Whitney geared turbofan engine issues with operations in hot environments. And, well, it's no secret that both Qatar and India see fairly extreme temperatures at certain times of the year. In fact, at the time of this video's production, 9 of EgyptAir's 12 A220s are listed as parked, while it's 2 of 5 over at Iraq Airways. The global health crisis and Pratt & Whitney's engine woes aside, operating the CS-100 and CS-300, now A220-100 and -300, would have significantly boosted Qatar Airways' ability to serve smaller destinations that typically see lower demand. As an airline already well known for having an extensive list of destinations, the A220's abilities would have unlocked even more opportunities for the carrier, such as airports with shorter runways. These days, it looks like Qatar Airways' lower capacity aircraft are its Airbus A320-200s, several of which accommodate just 132 passengers, 12 in business and 120 in economy. So what do you think of Qatar Airways having had interest in purchasing the Bombardier C-Series? How do you think a major order from the airline would have changed the fate of Bombardier and its C-Series program? Share your thoughts by leaving a comment. Simple Flying publishes over 150 articles every week. If you're looking for the latest aviation news and insights, visit simpleflying.com.